Okay.
All right. Okay, at 7 p.m., August 17th, 2021, in City Hall, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. Time to call the City of Torrington Inland Wetlands Commission meeting to order. Serving on the commission this evening are members Christine Altman, William Storty, Thomas Kalinowski, myself, Jay Bate, also present with Jeremy Rutherford from Inland Wetlands Enforcement Officer and Assistant City Planner.
Just a note for the record that Commissioner Altman's on by Zoom and everybody else is here in the room.
Next is minutes for approval for the 5/18/21 minutes.
I move to approve them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And this for the, yeah, I'll have to call them. Okay, next is old business. Show cause hearing, property owner Ron Newman, address Felicity Lane, assessor map 101, block 011, lot 008. Violation is grading and material processing within a regulated area without permits. Discussion is because there's no site plans available here.
So the Corporation Council actually sent Mr. Raymond a notice about a month ago, just after we were supposed to have the last meeting. So Mr. Raymond contacted me and we walked the property and I pointed out all of the issues on the property to him. I told him we still had this open show cause and we needed to move, we needed to do something about it. So he did hire Ken Ricka to do his design. He's going to design whether this is what gets built or not, he's going to design a single family house development on that whole parcel. So we can at least approve an access road and approve something on the property. So Ken did call me, confirmed that he's working on the project. So that was one of the big things I said. If you need to hire somebody, that I need confirmation that they're actually hired. So he did call me about 2 or 3 weeks ago and said he's officially working for them and working on the project. So that's where we're standing on that.
Okay, next is new business. Show cause here, property owner Jose Vanella, address 37 Stone Ridge Drive, assessor map 121, block 001, block 005. Violation, worked in regulated area without permits.
So I'm just gonna share the screen. So thank you. You can look at the screen. So, Mr. Benita purchased this property. This was actually a house that burned down a few years back. So the old foundation, the house was demolished. Obviously, what was left of the house was demolished, but the foundation was still there. And he purchased the property to rebuild a single-family house on the old foundation. At the time, the house itself, I mean, it's within the old foundation, but it was also further than our regulated area back from this, this small water course that's on the property. Subsequent to giving them the permits for the house, there was some work that was done in the backyard, and it kind of crossed over this water course into the neighboring property up on the hill behind the property. The history on it is I did send a couple of notices and there was additional work done. So this past, a couple of weeks ago, I sent in the cease and desist. We spoke in the office about the status on the property and that that he's not really supposed to be crossing this water course and moving material around near the water course. So at this point, I had him stop, come in here, and we can discuss the next steps to get it resolved. The biggest issue on this is I'm gonna switch over to the survey, or to the area photo. This is of course very off the screen. Yeah. It's gonna be back on the. Oh, so see where I circled there, you can pick up the water course on the aerial. It's actually, this is his property, so this water course is actually off of the property. So we've got issues on the neighboring parcel. This is T&M, this is actually owned by T&M Building. Does a lot of development in Torrington. I did contact them and let them know the issue was occurring, so if we needed to fix it, we could possibly get his permission to get on the property to do the repair work. But when Mr. Bean and I talked in the office, I said he needed to really get he had a survey on this property when he purchased it to rebuild the house. He needs to get an engineer or surveyor involved to actually probably design something to fix the issue. And that's really as far as I've gotten with it. So whatever we want to discuss with Mr. Bean today, that's what I've discussed with him in the office to this point.
So then a lot of tree cutting.
Yeah, actually,
But the microphone, it won't pick you up on the recording, you know.
And just state your name for the record too.
good evening, everyone. I'm Jose Bonilla. I'm the owner of 37 Stone Ridge property. When I bought this property, I hired an engineer who did a surveys for me, and then I built up a house over there. My backyard has a couple of stones and like 2 small trees. So I went to eliminate those trees and grinding the backyard. So a friend of mine, they cut those trees and he just put a branch over the small water river. Now, on my understandings, I understand that we're not supposed to cross that. We're supposed to clean out right away and take all out and just work for my property line in my property. But that was my first time that I'm doing this kind of deals, and that was my mistake, but now I understand how to clarify that. And then I hired Mr. Roger. I hired him and I explained to him what we have to do over there because I met a couple of times with Jeremy over there and he explained to me what I was doing. So I understand everything and I proceed from that. I hired a company who did that self-fence for me. But in order to clean out those branches, we have to trespass that. Those days I didn't know that we have to pull out permits in order to jump to another property. So now I know. Now I would like to fix this problem because this is my first time that I'm doing that. So from now on, I know already what to do and I know that I don't have to trespass with my stuff over to the others. So please, I need you to help me to fix up this because I need to do on the back of my house, I have to do a deck, a wood deck, and I need a permit in order to proceed with that. That's only holding up for now to me there.
So looking at that picture, was there excavating in the river?
There was actually material pushed back right into the water course. Yeah, I can get back to it.
Right now, the holdup is that can't be corrected because it's TMS's property.
Yeah, it's on adjacent property, that's part of the problem. So we do need an application, and fairly certain that T and M will allow the work to be done to restore the property, but
How big of an area is this?
it's actually a fairly narrow water course. It's
I
only,
mean, how many feet across is this, this picture is that?
it runs along the whole back of the property. How wide is the property?
My property is like, I got the survey over here.
But how wide of a swath is going through?
It's like the entire back length of.
But how wide?
The entire back, but I have like two, max 3 feet, that just one area we cross with our stuff, like the small stones. The rest is into my property line. We can see that we can walk more over there and then we can fix up. I have like 80 feet on the back, but not everything, just small area.
Like, it's about 80 feet. in width.
80 feet?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the length, but I mean, this.
How much was impacted?
How much was
The
it?
whole,
Okay.
thing, yeah. It pretty much, well, maybe minus 10 or 20 feet, but almost the whole thing.
But is this like a channel that runs through that went this way?
You went, well, so his
I'm
house,
trying to understand how much this is actually disturbed.
so on the picture, his house is over here. And so you come through the backyard and then straight across into the neighbor's property. So,
Yeah, what you're showing here is the swath where he
Yeah.
pushed it through.
so I guess the directions are the.
So you think the further remediation is just put the street back the way it was and plant grass?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to improve the channel, I think, because it's all loose material now, but,
What does the channel look like upstream and downstream? Is it?
it's pretty, solid. It's rock line, and, and if anything that is moved through that channel over the years, it's down to basically, bedrock and stones and, so it's basically straight across the backyard and up into this property. It goes uphill from here. So it's just things were pushed straight through the backyard. So the channel was, there. So the channel used to flow basically straight through here. And now the material's kind of made it into a U shape.
It's pushed like 2 feet.
Yeah.
I understand that because it has a small curve over there.
But the equipment did travel probably another 50 feet up into the woods, up to the neighboring property.
A friend of mine, he just dropped over there and I told
Yeah,
him,
we're excited.
with our remove that, don't go over those sides. So now, in order to clean up, we have to trespass and move equipment on top of it.
So what do you need an application for?
So it'd be two things, to basically to fix this issue and to approve that. He wants to put it back in the back of the house, which would now be in the regulated area. So rather than having to do an agent application and repair this thing, we might as well do it all in one.
I imagine there's a bunch of houses along the stream that have encroachments on the regulated area, right? Just by the
Yeah.
size of the lots.
I think so, but it's mostly just hand clearing type stuff. It's not like pushing.
No, but I mean like the deck. I mean, I know
Oh,
all the
yeah,
houses
yeah.
are kind of all in similar situations.
Rear decks and stuff.
Yeah, so that to me is not really an issue, it's
No.
restoring and mitigating the damage.
No, and I would issue agent permit for this if it was the only thing. So I mean, I think at least my suggestion would be hold the cease and desist order in place pending an application to fix, to repair the issue.
You know, all as to what he needs to do.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to communicate with the neighbor to get, because you'll need, when you apply, you'll need permission on your application to go on that property too, to fix it. So I can talk to
I
you
will do
about
that tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
The motion.
Just, we'll need a motion just to hold the cease and desist order in place. Because there has to be some sort of a decision on it.
I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to hold the cease and desist order in place for Jose Vanilla, 37 Stoners Drive, assessor map 121, block 001, lot 005, pending an application for restoration.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Okay, next, applicant Stephen Gerard. Location 194 Lincoln Street. Activity place fill and regulated upland review area for lawn expansion. Restore 670 square feet of wetlands from previous filling.
Chairman, myself in order. I'll leave it at
Chairman, is it easier to bring up rather than the easel?
that. Yeah, you can bring these up for them. I just need to share the screen for this one. Yeah. Statements.
Both the same.
These maps are all the same. Restoration plan.
Yeah.
Do you guys have plans?
Yeah.
But you need to point it.
So this, just for before Dennis starts, just for history on this, this was a enforcement. This came out of an enforcement action too. There was the filling has already gone on, and he's in to get a plan approved to actually do the restoration on this parcel.
Where was Lincoln Street?
It's off the passage as you go into Greenbrier.
Oh,
Before you get into on the gate.
Ready? Should I start?
sure.
Okay, for the record, Dennis McMorrow, Berkshire Engineering and Surveying, representing the applicant. The trick of this application was trying to figure out how much wetlands actually got impacted. So the idea that I came up with the soil scientist George Malia was to try to, the fill was obvious because it was fresh when George was out there last year in 2020. So what we did is we went on either side of the fill in the natural soils to find that. And if the wetlands line that's on the map at the top of the page, that's wetland flag B1 and B2. And that is in the natural area. It's north of the silt fence. And then on the south side, there's wetland flag B8 and B9. Those are essentially your original limits of the wetlands. And then George flagged where the wetlands, he flagged the arc around there. He did some cores where the tree is with the benchmark in it. And that was the tree he determined was definitely in upland soils originally. So we essentially drew a line across from wetland flag B2 to wetland flag B8. And that's that shaded area there, which is the 670 square feet. So that's our best guesstimate of the wetlands that were impacted. The good news is topsoil was not stripped or anything, it was just fill put on place. So I think we can reasonably assume that we can go in there with a mini excavator and we can strike that line just downhill of the tree and remove the material down until we see the original topsoil again. And then once we see the original topsoil, we can shape a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 slope going up towards the tree. And I have a big note in there detailing that out. That area down below, we would just seed that with a New England wet mix, that topsoil that's in the original wetland area, and then the material we dig out of there, and I'm guessing it's only about 25 cubic yards of material that we're gonna take out. We're just gonna re-spread it on that backyard in between the driveway and the house and just seed and mulch that again in that area. And I think the wetland area that we take out, I think that will restore quite well with the New England wet mix, and the original topsoil is there, and the hydraulics won't have changed in there. So I think it should be a relatively simple process to be able to restore and get that back. Mr. Berlin did not realize about wetlands when that went on, and when Jeremy contacted him, he contacted me, and we came up with this plan. Be happy to answer any questions that the board has.
So our actions tonight, and this was the memo that I sent out yesterday, are to accept the application and render a significant or not significant determination tonight. What I can say is this kind of got dragged out for a while because I couldn't see anything to figure out what to do all winter long. So we had to wait until the snow kind of broke in the spring before I could, contact Mr. Drummond and try to sort it out.
And the craziness of COVID,
That too, yeah.
I couldn't get things done quickly. And it's insane.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it's significant activity in that.
No, and I agree. I mean, regardless, it's a small area, and essentially my memo says it's going to be an improvement to the condition. The biggest reason why we have to do the restoration is in our regulations. Whenever possible, we want to have a no net loss. So it had to be off. We have plenty of property to offset here. So the choice was really up to them where to do the remediation, and it just made most sense to do it in the spot that was filled rather than trying to create a wetland somewhere else on the property.
I think we'll have better success taking that out, restoring that, than trying to create one.
I agree, yeah. And probably having to drive through wetlands to get anywhere else too.
Yeah. More involved surveying and engineering, and this was the simplest and I think most cost effective and the best solution to the problem.
Motion.
So we need, we need two motions, one to just accept the application and one for determination on significant activity. Or you can combine them.
I'll make a motion that we accept our plans for 194 Lincoln Street, Stephen Joe, contractor, Joe Lincoln. Please fill and regulated upland review area for lawn expansion, restore 670 square feet of wetlands from previous filling activity, and it is not a significant activity.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
You're muted.
Hi.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, next is discussion, wetlands commission ordinance.
So we've had a couple of instances where we've had trouble getting quorum. In the last 6 months or so, especially. I took a look at our ordinance, and if you look around the state, I would say probably 90% of towns have 5-member wetlands boards with alternates. I kind of had, I think I might have broached this up to Jay maybe 6 months ago, and I spoke with the mayor about it, and it seems like it makes the best sense for us. We have 4 members now. I said 5 earlier today before I saw the email from Jamie. Oh, Christine didn't see that, so Jane has resigned, Christine, from the commission.
Thank you.
So we're down to 4 members now. So my recommendation is that we modify the ordinance to make a 5 regular member board with 3 alternates. In doing that, we can either stick with the 3-year terms, or we could go to 5-year terms for regulars and 3 for alternates. If we went with 3 years, we'd be on kind of like a 2-2-1 with the regular members. So I'm open to suggestions. It makes it clean to have it at 5 and 3 because of the amount of members. So we have one and one each year, 1 alternate, 1 regular member coming up for renewal each year. But
So with the alternates, does that mean still 3 is more?
3 would be a quorum, yeah, for anybody. I know the case law, which is really sparse on this, says you have to have at least 1 of your officers. So you generally elect a chair, a vice chair, and a commission secretary, even though the secretary doesn't really have any responsibilities.
I volunteer for that.
Yeah, one of them has to be present, but then it could be 2 alternates if you to make quorum. But you need to have 1 of your top 3 people present.
So an officer and then the balance.
Anyone, yeah. Yep. And generally with the alternates, you go on a rotation, like somebody can see at one meeting, then a different one the next meeting, kind of just rotate through so they all have a chance to get seated every once in a while. Not that we have enough to make the alternates right now, anyway, but.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. I know that a few years ago, we had the same problem. A lot of cancellations.
Yes.
To stabilize it a little bit.
And this is the more rare form of wetland commissions are made up with 7 members. I just think it's an easier way to get quorum. Plus, I think it's a cleaner way to review applications with 5 members. So I guess the last thing I'd be looking to suggest is what are our term limits. I mean, I prefer the 5 and 3, but it doesn't really. I mean, this isn't an elected board, so if somebody did want to step down, we just.
Yeah, no, it's not like.
Yeah.
No. And I've never, only once in all the years I've been on, when I think the mayor wanted to actually ask somebody to step down.
For non-attendance or something like that.
No, he had some violations on his property.
I got you. Conflicts. It actually says, well, our ordinance, which that part wouldn't change. It says, lack of attendance, conflicts of interest, something else, for grounds for removal.
Yeah, but that's when I came on. But he was notified to step down.
Yeah. So I'm trying to push for new members, but I think a lot of people, I think part of it has to do with COVID. It's starting to get people interested right now. But
The cleanup of the organized, is that just the list for conservation or what also for compliance?
so that was both, and the guy that was interested in joining was off that list. So we did send him, everything for this meeting, but. So I'll draft that and get it over to the mayor. We don't have to take a motion on it, but everybody's in agreement.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, and I think anything to, I felt kind of bad last week, that stuff on the agenda. Pretty important.
Yeah.
Making people wait a month.
Yeah. Luckily, we didn't have any. Luckily, everybody that was here tonight was dragged in by me, but instead of wanting to do something, they didn't really care. At least this time.
Well, I agree, I think it's a better solution than holding up an application.
Yeah, I mean, we've done it in that, well, we used to always not wait a month. We would kind of.
Schedule a special meeting. Yeah.
No, we wouldn't. I mean, if it was something simple, we'd accept it and give it the same way. We would wait 30 days.
Yeah. I mean, anything that comes here has to wait to 14. So. But however, the statute does say if we don't have a meeting, 35 days is the official acceptance date, which was with this particular application was August 8th. So even waiting 14 days, it would have gotten kicked to September. So I didn't, if we had lost this meeting, then we would have had an official acceptance and could have rendered a decision in September. If we didn't have form tonight, because it would have been automatically accepted. We would have had to still had to make that significant activity determination, I think, that meeting at the next meeting, but. All right, we'll get working on it.
Next is staff report.
So I included the enforcement list. A couple of, you'll see a couple of them that were here tonight around here. I have one that actually came into compliance, that was Marshall Lee. And a couple that are 3 other ones that are in compliance, but are kind of not. I'd like to, for both zoning and wetland violations, I like to keep them on a 6-month hold before I close them out, just to make sure they stay in compliance. So, hopefully within the next couple of months, I'll be removing a few others.
Are you making out with rules?
We'll see. If you was actually
Reading and junk.
grading jump. The problem is I can never get this off the agenda or off the list, because he comes into compliance and they go there 2 months later, it's out of control again.
It's kind of been going on for 20 years.
Yeah, it actually worked okay the last time I was out there, but I'm sure if I go out there in a month, it'll be chaos again. Then I have 3 agent determinations. One Norfolk Road for above ground pool. She actually had to size this one down because it's such a weird property. It's the one, if you're going up towards the dam, just before you hit the dam, there's that little cemetery. That little tiny on 272. That little cemetery right before you start going up towards the dam. It's cheap. This woman bought that property, and it's really narrow. To make all the setbacks, get away from the wetlands, get away from the house, all that stuff. She had to size down to a 15-foot pool. And then I had 2 others that are almost side by side, really, 2 houses apart. Both of them were, these people must know each other, because they both came in at the same time to remove dead trees from the wetland area and basically just do a little expansion of their backyard in the upland area. It's fairly flat property to begin with, so they didn't have to do really much in the way of grading. But there were one property that had 1 big dead tree in the wetlands, and another one had like two like medium-sized ones. So, I allowed them to. I just said leave the stumps, take the trees out, leave the stumps. So. Yeah, they came in like a day apart, so I have a feeling they were talking to each other. I think they have one house in between them on Silver Brook.
This one also knows relocation and trenching for broken things.
Oh, yeah, that was moving actually away from the wetland. So it was going from the tanks that were already there back to the house. So I kind of included that, but yeah. Oh. I think that's all I got. Yes.
Move we adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Still used to.
Motion carries.
7:35. All right, can stop the recording. You can stop sharing.